We'll call the September the 20th, 2016 meeting of the Board of Supervisors back to order from recess. We're here today for a public hearing, and I'll read the notice of the public hearing. Notice is given that the Board of Supervisors of Wythe County, Virginia will hold a public hearing on the proposed issuing of bonds at one time or from time to time by Wythe County. The estimated maximum aggregate amount of the bonds is $2,103,000. The general purpose for which the bonds are to be issued and the proposed use of the proceeds of such bonds are A, to finance the cost of improvements to the county sewer system, including improvements around exit 24, Interstate 77 in the eastern part of the county, for which use more than 10% of the total bond proceeds is expected to be used, and B, to pay the cost of issuing the bonds. The public hearing, which may be continued or adjourned, at which persons may appear and present their views on the proposed bond issue, will be held at 7 p.m. or as soon after thereafter, as the matter may be heard on September the 20th, 2016, before the board in the boardroom of the Wythe County Administration Building located at 340 South 6th Street, Wythe, Virginia. Orders of the Wythe County Board of Supervisors. I will now open, where'd Steve go? I was going to let him summarize, but I don't guess we have to. I'll open the floor up for any comments. Well, I was going to wait here a few minutes and we'll see if anybody comes.
You want me to go there and be citizen for a while?
Just keep your seat. Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll give Steve a go.
I think you went to give the information to what would be my guess.
Okay, I know Martha sent out a email, and she needs to know how many's going to the VACO conference in November, before the end of the month. But she knows me and Debbie will be going, and who else is going? No. Charlie's going. Gary, you going? Gene?
I don't know, I asked my wife if we was going and she never did answer me.
We'll just get Martha. Corey, you going?
Coy asked me a question. Did I give you that?
I give it to Stephen. He's gonna summarize it.
This thing? I'm working on it.
Martha, we got meeting up to get these out in stores and things.
No, I know Lynn's gonna get them out.
We can create something.
You know whether there's any more of them, I'd like
I
to
didn't know that.
put some up in the county. I'm sure Coy would too.
Stephen, since there wasn't nobody here to speak for public hearing, I've closed the public hearing. Now, Mr. Hale, have you got some questions on the projected, the project budget?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be opposed to what we're doing, I just wonder why it's that way. If you go on down below the engineering fact, is that inspection, is that outside required inspection, or are we paying ourselves to inspect?
Joe, without having that information from me, I'm looking through it quickly to see. I am not certain on that. I would say that was us, that entire budget would, typically, we would have our inspectors inspecting on the job. And that's part of the budget cost.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. In other words, we've got our building inspector budgeted.
Not building inspector, people like Bill who check out inspecting the lines, the inspectors on the actual installation of the
That's
line.
somebody you actually hire,
Yes.
but this is for the plant, isn't it?
This is, it's a combination, this whole thing is for the plant and lines being installed.
Who do we hire to do that?
To do inspection work,
Who does that?
the inspection work,
Yeah.
we've not hired anybody on the inspection work yet.
Well, I mean, do we hire a company or do we hire an individual?
Typically, in the past, we've hired an individual.
Well, typically in the past, who holds the liability for that? What do you do to an individual when he doesn't do his job?
You feel I don't know, like the water lines, like the ones we've got now?
Yeah. I thought you used to do that with county employees where you had some control over them. But if you just go hire an individual that inspects, who handles the liability when he doesn't do his job?
It's the county.
Yeah, so we're hiring somebody that's not part of the company. We hire somebody that doesn't have the structure of liability insurance. So what are you really getting? Except incomplete paperwork, and we'll pay somebody a salary that you virtually have no control over.
I mean, you've got control over him because it's your employee that you are controlling. I understand what you're talking about as far as the rest.
Well, if he's an hourly employee that's there to do that job, then who supervises him? The engineer?
Yes.
So he's got a full-time job. This guy gets paid $22,000 according to this budget. And on a day-to-day basis, he's on his own.
Yes.
That's,
Well, the 22,000 is the maximum.
Right, I mean, that's what the budget number was,
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it may or may not be that much.
Well, I can see what Joe's getting at. Okay, down the road, he's supposed to be out here inspecting, and making sure it's done right. Then a year down the road, something goes wrong and we find out that it wasn't done right. What recourse have we got on that individual?
Nothing on that individual, not, you're right. I mean,
Stephen,
but that's how we've done all of our water lines have typically all been inspected by either county employees or county part-time employees hired to do the inspection.
well, let's work on that history. We open a new line, you always gonna have to go back and fix brakes within the first year. And that's my case right there. History tells me the state of Virginia used to do it that way, the community college did it that way. They went one step further, and I hope we don't, they called him the clerk of the works. You give up your God-given court rights by having a county employee supervise the work. Takes all liability off the contract. 2 major state buildings, they hired an individual. One of them knew he had done such a poor job a week before the final, he quit and took all the records with him and left town. The other one's similar. He did a real poor job, and God called him home, and he died before the final, and we didn't get the records either. So all that money was just wasted. If you hire a company at a negotiated price, It's their responsibility to provide the protection for the county. If something goes wrong, you can go after their liability insurance because their employee did it instead of yours. That's just a little educational form based on my experience of how picking up somebody that's got a warm head and a driver's license and telling them they're an inspector. They can jump ship anytime, can't they?
Yes, sir.
And you don't have anything. In these two cases, one of them was a $4.5 million building. He walked off with the daily records, all the reports, and couldn't be found. The taxpayers got their
And I will
money.
check with Bill first thing in the morning on how they're set up engineering on this, on the plan, if it is provided by the engineering firm or if it is the individual on the plant. The plant, I do not know.
But I mean, what you're saying, Joe, could happen with an employee right now. I mean, for instance, let's say Bill is the county engineer, inspects it, then 3 months after it's completed, Bill leaves the county, and then something happens, it would still be the same thing as that you're talking about.
I don't see it the same way, Gary.
Well, I mean, the county's still on the,
They're on the hook,
right.
but you've got an employer relationship with a county employee. You don't have it with a part-time employee that's just paid to look after that one job. He knows his job is done. Is that right, Steve? When the job's done, he don't have a job. So there's a little bit of difference in having a county employee do it and have a pickup or a sub or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know what kind of background check you've done on those people or anything. But how do you go about, are they qualified?
I mean, it depends on obviously which their funding source is as well, but you've got to have background check information prepared on them and sent to the funding sources for them to approve the inspector. If it's rural development, they actually make certain it's a inspector that they will approve their work.
Well, and I'll show that. Is there any advantage in doing it that way?
Cost advantages, or the additional cost advantages are probably the major factor.
That's an opinion, though. If you don't ask, you don't know what companies that do that would do it for. The life of this job, I don't know what it is. I think it's anticipated 14 months, isn't it, something like that?
Sounds about right.
So, obviously, you're not going to get a lot for $22,000 for 14 months.
And
Maybe
just
he
making
doesn't
certain
have a
everybody
driver's
understands, what we're voting on tonight is a resolution to approve the funding.
Yeah.
Is what that is. I mean, I understand your question.
Well, that more
Yeah.
on the engineering side, and I wonder, does anybody remember if we'd ever seen this spreadsheet? I thought we had just looked at the number before.
I just remember seeing the whole number.
Yeah.
The what is it, 2 million, 2.1?
I mean, it was, the whole thing was presented when they presented the PER, and we looked at the options on the PER and how far we were going to go, and this was the one that was presented. Now, whether it exactly showed these numbers, I don't know, but basically
Well, really,
the PER.
Stephen, I'm not picking on you, but this is really the result of a federal form. We fill in the blanks on a form that needs to be filed with rural development. Do you agree with that?
It's very similar. It wasn't rural development on this one, I mean, or VRA, but basically, it was the project budget that was developed based on similar projects, similar size, similar scope, what your project budget is that goes with these.
Well, what trips the trigger with me is we're paying 3 times for the engineer, and it's hard to say what the design fee was, what the engineering fee is, and what additional engineering. Are we paying, here's my question, are we paying the engineer for engineering negotiation to get it within budget? If we are, we shouldn't be paying that. But I realize we gotta approve this, there's no problem with that. I'm just questioning what are we really getting at why is the cost there.
Is there a more detailed breakdown of this? I mean,
That we can.
I'm not asking tonight, Stephen.
Yes.
There is more detail. So
I
it
mean,
would-
yeah.
So it would basically kind of show the things that Joe's asking.
Yeah, because as you know, when the whole construction one and construction two, our bids that came in exceeded what our entire budget was. We looked at, we made we approved it, we took the change orders out to get it under. We're looking at, we have understanding got approved for the $100,000 grant from Mount Rogers PDC that will be adding those items back in. But I can get Bill to get an updated construction budget of what construction one is, what construction two is, the engineering, all those, and get that emailed out to you tomorrow.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of the general obligation bond of Wythe County in an amount not to exceed $2,103,600. Providing for the form, details, and payment of the bond.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll do a roll call vote. Dr. Hausman?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Okay, is there anything else any board member has to bring up in front of the board tonight? Stephen, you want to quickly give the bid tabulations?
Yeah. The board, the Lane Group was here today. Bids were received at 2 p.m. for the rough grading the Expo Center. Parent low bid is Baker's Construction at $940,285. Second lowest bid was Stowers Construction at $1,255,000. It went up from there, W&L is 1.4, King General is 1.3, and Branch Highways is 1.8. Apparent low bid, obviously Baker's Construction. Engineer's estimate was 1.1 million. They're reviewing the bid. They'll be sending us a recommendation tomorrow. It'll be on your board package next Tuesday to award the bid to the apparent low bidder.
Okay.
I'm gonna comment on this tonight, excuse me. Stephen, think about this. A lump sum deal looks good, sounds good, but without that broke down, there's no way we can engineer or negotiate that price down. Now, if you go to that piece that we had in the handout in break one, have you got that with you, the pamphlet?
What's
The Apex Center pamphlet?
this?
Yeah, open up there to the breakdown. There's probably, and this is a guess, there's probably another $150,000 that we could possibly negotiate out of that contract. But since it's a lump sum, it's gonna be hard. But I would really like for us to start this. Are you looking at the spreadsheet?
This here, yes.
There's no reason for that topsoil cost to be there. You guys don't have to take my word for it, we've got an experienced builder over there, Mr. Steve Willis. That's our topsoil. We're not asking them to go buy that topsoil. We've got plentiful topsoil on that site. $12.50 a yard is ridiculous to pay for that topsoil. We ought to get some of that money back in negotiation. That negotiation should happen before we go to contract, or we're never gonna get any of it back. Item 2, there's no creek crossing in this design. Why is there money in there for a creek crossing? You see it?
On the temporary stream crossing that's on there.
There's no stream, and we're not crossing it if it was there. Everything is staying on this side of where that got created into a blue line stream that's not there. I think you all understand understand what a blue line stream is. It means there's water running all the time, and that don't occur on that property. So there's a few little things like that. How would we go about chopping away at that budget and get it down, get at that contract amount and get it down some before we sign a contract, because we're never gonna get dollar for dollar back after we sign the contract.
I mean, the only way to do it would be to request from them, a statement of values on their bid and negotiate it from there.
Well, that was my next question, and this needs direction from the board, certainly not from me. If Lane asked for their worksheet, which should be in the contract documents, that they could look for their worksheet, we created this problem by taking a lump sum bid. And we should have learned something about lump sum bids in lot 24. But with the breakdown, the next chance you have is demand a schedule of values. And then they can put the money wherever they want to. Because that's their freedom of saying where they want to get their money. And then it's our prerogative to say, wait a minute, you front loaded this job and you're getting too much money up front, let's redo it. I hope we'll do that. When we're dealing with this kind of money, scrutiny and contract management is an art and a learned thing, and we're not taking advantage of that. It adds up to real money. If some of these things, like in that next phase, or in this phase, let's just say that we get lucky and Lane comes through, not Lane Group, but Lane Pipe, donates all the pipe. If we don't know what they had in there for pipe, how do we get a fair value back for furnishing the pipe? You see my point? So however we manipulate that, either a worksheet or ask them to break it down, and they still might be smart enough to know what we're up to and change the number. But right now, looking at it, it costs about $3.50 a yard for excavation. But there's no way to tell because it's lump sum. I'd rather us have that conversation tonight than have it next week during the board meeting. But I think we need to start thinking more about how these things happen. The Lane Group today, Tim, we talked to them about some of those things, the building. I brought up that we look at another mechanical system over here for this building. They hadn't done it. They went to Norton and talked to the superintendent of schools, and he wasn't there when it was put in. He doesn't know anything about it. I went today and talked to the principal. It's been in 5 years, they had no trouble with it. It's high-tech. We actually were asked to go in some classrooms. The teacher has control of the temperature in every room. And it would work real nice in this building over here, but they hadn't looked at it. The architect went over and talked to the superintendent instead of talking to the principal. And I asked Jeremy to go in there with me. He heard it. I've asked him to type up and make available to y'all how that conversation went. Anybody's welcome to go look at it. Been there 5 years. They're way ahead of their projected savings on that in 5 years. That's business.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Are we back to a 60,000 square foot building?
No.
I was wondering the same thing.
Is it, where's it at?
At the bottom of this cost
Bottom of the
estimate.
Cost estimate page.
Oh, that's that old budget. They were still talking 60,000 when they printed that budget. That's for grading. The building now is at 86,000 and odd change. Obviously, they weren't going to take the direction of going to 90, so they went to 86 something.
With the option to put the other 20,000 square feet on the northwest side. supposedly.
Well, it don't say that, and they're not talking that way today. They think, I like the building. I like
Well,
the
I
way
do
it
too, I
looks.
mean, but
I
that's,
don't like the cupolas, and I told them that, we need more cupolas to spread the air throughout the building. Those look like hog houses on top of a big building. So if you put about 6 cupolas up there with 6 different fans, you're gonna have a lot better airflow. And we do have meeting rooms, which what they promised today was in the very near future, they would have architectural floor plan to show where all this space is gonna be used. Stephen, I asked him to copy that to you. Do you have any more of these handy that we could, Coy and I could get them out
We
now?
can make copies however many you need.
I can make some copies.
Just give me what you got, and I'll post them in some stores and post office down the eastern end of the county.
okay. Anybody have anything else? If not, Stephen, you have anything?
Yes, sir, I do not know of anything else.
Okay, if not, we're adjourned until September the 27th at 9 a.m.